Change, they say, is the only constant thing in life. Yeah? You move to a new country, that is change. You land that dream job and you're ready to thrive, but suddenly you are hit with a challenge nobody warned you about. From subtle bias to visa struggle, here are 7 real challenges that migrants face in the workplace, and I'll be telling you how I've been able to conquer them and how you can conquer them yourself. The first one is culture shock at work. People communicate differently. Even though we all speak English, we communicate differently. We lead differently and we even joke differently. None of this is wrong. It is just new to you. It was new to me too, and a lot of other professionals who migrated from their country to another country. But honestly, I still don't understand some jokes. I don't understand some of their Christmas quizzes. I don't even get some of the Christmas songs. But to overcome this, what have I done? I've made myself open to learn new cultures and learn new things. But what I have not done and what I will never do is to erase my own culture, because that is who I am. That's the unique part of me. I remember on a fateful Monday morning, I got on to work and my team members were chatting on Team about a reality show. I have never heard about this reality show because I do not watch that channel. I watch YouTube and Netflix and all the African Nollywood and all of that, but I don't watch that, right? So I read the chat and I moved on. I did not engage, I did not add because I don't know anything about it. When you try to engage in every communication, it makes it obvious that you do not understand the culture, and sometimes they will genuinely just laugh over it and you will feel so bad because you are quite sensitive. The second is language confidence. Even if your English is great, guys, we know that there's always a fear of sounding wrong, always a fear of calling somebody's name wrong or pronouncing a word in the wrong way. And that is the truth. Fluency doesn't mean perfection, it means being understood. That is one thing I've been able to do. I still have difficulties in pronouncing people's names, I still have difficulties in pronouncing some words because I am not a Briton. I am a Nigerian, and that is the truth. You are not a Briton. You are probably from another part of the world, and you do not pronounce these things the way the British people pronounce it. So, what do I do to overcome this? I just stick with being clear. I use simple words and I play around with my vocabularies because there is always room for improvement. I try to practice those difficult words. I ask people what they would prefer to be called or how would I pronounce their names rightly. I ask people. I also pause when I'm talking. I mean, as you can see, I speak very fast sometimes, but I try to pause. I try to speak slowly so that people can understand me. I can be clear, and that can help build my confidence. I try to familiarize with some of the words that are difficult, or maybe the words I haven't heard before. I'll put them on Google pronunciation, I'll learn them, and then I'll go with it. I will make sure I practice it because that's the only way that you can overcome that language confidence, because you're not British. You only migrated there and you're only just learning how to do things there. So practice makes perfection. Practice reading books, and that would help you in the way that you do things. Challenge number 3, your qualification not being recognized. You've studied hard, you've worked hard, and now they say it doesn't count. Sometimes getting a local certification or a relevant course can help bridge that gap and help you bridge that fear. Let's take a typical example. A lot of people that migrated were probably doing great where they've come from. They have global certifications, for example, certifications from America, certification from Canada, and you find yourself maybe in Spain, you find yourself maybe in Europe, you find yourself maybe in the United Kingdom, where any of those certifications are not recognized. One thing that I try to do to overcome that is I tell myself that no experience is waste, no certification is waste, no knowledge is waste. And I begin to build my certification, bring it back home to that new country, gradually. Don't rush it, because if you rush it, you will get burned out, you'll get frustrated. If you are a CIPM member in Nigeria, or you have your senior HR professional certification from America, you can use that as a stepping stone. So rather than coming to United Kingdom and starting your CIPD all over again, you can start at a certain level. Just ask the right questions, speak to the right people, their numbers, their things that you can find online. Ring them and tell them what your situation is. If they cannot do it, then you know that you're starting that certification, not because you just didn't ask and you have wasted your time, you wasted your money and your resources. Challenge number 4, imposter syndrome. You do feel sometimes that you don't belong. Trust me. Trust me. In foreign countries, you do feel sometimes that you don't belong. People sometimes act fake, and they begin to fake those confidence to be better and an improved version of themselves. Okay, you've earned your spot. That's the truth. You just need to know that. You can act some of them, right? For example, I am a Nigerian born and bred HR professional, and I struggle with this sometimes. I struggle with the way that people will hear me when I'm facilitating trainings. I struggle with the way that people will hear me when I'm speaking at meetings. And to overcome this, again, I try to get myself familiar with the training slides. I will not be able to present like the British person, because I am a Nigerian. We're very energetic. We move our hands when we're talking. We do all of those gestures that a British person might not do, or sometimes they do. But that's the unique part of me. So I bring that unique part of myself to a presentation. I bring all those unique vocabularies. I leverage on my strong presentation skills. I leverage on the fact that I don't use the a lot of times, and I can cram, from the things that we've learned in school. I have used all of those strengths to be able to overcome that fear. Because the thing about overcoming fear or overcoming this imposter syndrome is building your confidence. If you can build your confidence well enough, you can go into any meeting and say, I did it last week, I can do it again. And I got this feedback, I can improve on this, I can make this better. And that's what I use to help myself. Challenge number 5, visa and work permit stress. The deadlines, the renewals, the sponsorship worries is exhausting, and it is real. The amount of stress migrants in the professional space go through is enormous. The money that you have to pay, you're constantly careful to switch jobs, or the fear of losing your job because they are the ones that have sponsored you, and that's the only way that you can remain in the country, and your dependents can also remain in the country. Yeah, these are fears that you go through. To overcome this, what I try to do is speak up quickly. You have to try to speak up quickly. If you don't speak up quickly, you find yourself in a place where you are working with deadlines, the deadlines are tight, and you are struggling, because the way we do things is quite different from the way things are done here. Yeah, there are a lot of processes that people will follow, there are a lot of things that people will do, so you have to follow those processes. You have to wait for your boss to speak to her boss and get all the approvals in place if necessary or if needed. One thing that I try to tell people, right? Read, make yourself knowledgeable, have the facts. If you see things online, if you hear of a news that's just come out, take your time, read that document, understand the document that has been circulated, so you understand how it affects you, and begin to plan and strategize. Get support if necessary. Speak up if needed. In fact, it's so real. That stress is real. You think about the money, you think about the deadlines, you think about the renewals, you think about all of the fears. They are real. Get somebody that can support you in the struggle. Don't bear it alone. Challenge number 6, code switching fatigue. You're constantly adjusting the way you speak, the way you act. Let's be factual. It's not because you're being fake. The kind of words, the kind of slangs that I use at home, I don't use it in the office. I can say to people, no problem, no wahala. I can't use that in the office. And that's the truth. So I'm constantly switching. Migrants are constantly switching, from themselves at home to themselves in the office. And you're struggling to switch sometimes. I remember there was a time that I was talking to my boss. I almost said, hey, hi boss, or hi madam or something. But that's the way I would speak as an African, right? That's the way I would speak. I still struggle on the first name basis. That's the truth. But you learn these things constantly, and that is the best way to overcome them. Overcome it by switching gradually. When you get into the workspace, tell yourself that I'm at work. Okay, even if I'm speaking to a Nigerian at work, that person might not be a Nigerian born, or she might be Nigerian born but now British. That person might have, different mindset from what I'm saying. I don't go about, saying hi sis, no wahala, no problem, no ish, all of those great slangs that we use back at home. I can use that in my house. I can use that with my friends that understand me. But when it gets to the workspace, it's just constantly bringing the right person to the right environment every time. Challenge number 7, microaggression or biases. Comments like, your name is hard. Oh, wow, do you speak English where you come from? That can be a little bit cringe. But the truth is, I've met people that genuinely, and they'll politely ask you, what's the right way to pronounce your name? I'll just say, please, what's the right way to pronounce your name? I don't want to pronounce your name wrongly, because some people are quite sensitive to things like that. So I ask that question, and some people genuinely ask that question. So when you hear comments like that, or don't be defensive. I genuinely have a problem with pronouncing people's names. Like I said, I have a twisted tongue sometimes. So I just say it, and I am not being offensive when I ask people on how to pronounce their name. And that's the way that I've tried to overcome it. When people ask me things like, oh, your English is good. I'm like, yes, English is my first language. There are some people that you'd be like, really, what part of this planet are you from? In the 20th century, you're still thinking this way? Some people are like that. I remember I was talking to a manager, and we worked in the same sector. We all, it's big and all of that. We all work there. And I was just telling her about the difference between this our company in this state and our company in that state. And she was like, really? I didn't know about that. I didn't know there were salary differences. I didn't know about this. I didn't know about that. Yeah, somebody would say, is she pretending? But the truth is, I'm HR. Maybe I will know that. Or because I just like to know things, maybe I'll know that. So people genuinely sometimes don't know. Don't act some aggression. Just be calm. Listen to the person. Sometimes if they're even trying to be racial discriminators or whatever, the way that you look at them and the way that you answer them just makes them know that you've overcome that part of your life. Really, that doesn't make you who you are. Yes, I'm Nigeria, I'm proud of it. I'm African, I'm proud of it. I've got a twisted tongue. Beautiful. I love what I love. You love what you love. So everybody just respect each other. Now we've come to the end of this video. If you have faced even one of these, you're not alone. These challenges are so real, and you can also overcome them. I have tried to overcome them in one way or the other, and I'm still learning every day. One of the ways to do this, I say to people, is to be aware and be prepared, so that you're not caught unawares when things happen and you don't lose guard when things happen, right? So if you found this video smashing and helpful and educating, please like, share, subscribe, drop a comment. Let me hear one of the challenges that you might have faced. And, if I've not talked about it, or you're even currently finding a way to navigate around it. If you're not a subscriber, you know the drill. Drop a comment, like and share with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to join our community. Until we meet in our next video, bye.